Okay, so today we're going to be building a $200 build. This is what I was talking about last video. 200 is, yes, double the price of 100, but I just feel like the components you're getting are so much better than the $100 build components. Like, it's genuinely a night and day difference. The $100 PC was, forget about gaming, it was basically unusable even for basic web browsing because of that E2200. Heck, it can barely even run Windows 10. You might as well just use Windows 7 or XP. This build, I think, is usable for the average person. It cannot handle AAA gaming, for sure, but indies and esports, I think, will be fine on this build. Though, when I say esports, I mean light esports like CSGO and Fortnite, and maybe Rainbow Six, but that's kind of stretch. Though I heard Rainbow Six can run on pretty much everything, and Valorant, because that is also a very easy to run game. I don't mean Warfare, I mean not Warfare, Warzone or PUBG or anything like that. That is definitely not going to work on this. And those esports are not going to be playable at competitive frame rates. I'm talking about playable. Like maybe 720p low, 30 FPS, maybe 45 if you're lucky, I don't know. But yeah. So the first component we're going to go for is the Intel G6400. I actually was talking about how I wanted to use this in my last build, and what I wanted to use in this build was actually the AMD Ryzen 2400G, because this could have actually handled some AAA games, because the 2400G's integrated GPU is the Vega 11, and that is actually pretty decent. The problem is, look how expensive it is right now, $230. Before it was going for like $70, $80, but now it's more than the entire PC build itself, so can't go for that. Have to settle for the G6400 for 65. Dual core I know is concerning, though it's modern day dual core, so should be fine. Yeah, and we're just going to use the integrated graphics. We're not going to get a GPU. Integrated graphics says 610. It's around equivalent to GT 710 we had in the $100 build. But the CPU is a lot better, so it's not going to be bottlenecked. So we have the G6400, and next we're going to go for the RAM. So I already have all the parts pulled up here. Oh wait, no, okay. Let me just add that back to the card. Yeah, so G6400. Now we're gonna go for 2 by 4 gigabytes of RAM. We're gonna go Corsair because we want to go for decent. We want at least 1600 megahertz for RAM clock speed. 600 megahertz is actually kind of slow, but because this is a nicer build, we want to go for 8 gigs and definitely 1600 megahertz. So yeah, 27 for 8 gigabytes of RAM that's running in dual channel is pretty decent. It is 1600 megahertz, so that's the only problem. Now we need an Intel Tension motherboard. Motherboards are so expensive, like it's more than the CPU itself. Yeah, we want an H410 motherboard. Yeah, yeah, it's $90 for a motherboard. That is way too expensive, but I guess we have to work with it. Now, because this is a nicer build, I want to make sure I get an SSG. Like, I don't care how expensive it is. I don't care if it's like a high storage SSD. Yeah, see, 120 gigs is fine. Yeah, it's not enough storage for games. Obviously, story games and external hard drive. This is just so the OS itself can feel snappy. Definitely, though, if you're downloading a lot of games, get an external hard drive. So yeah, now we have everything set. The power supply. So now we want to go thermal take for the power supply, just so we can have a decent. I don't want to go for some old pre-built power supply. I want to go for a relatively decent power supply. So that being said, we have this right here, 430 watts. It's made by Thermaltake. It's 20 bucks. So with all of those parts combined, total came out to, without shipping, total came out to $224. It's more expensive than the $200 budget by about 20 bucks, I know, but I did not want to cheap out on anything and squeeze to get under that $200. So it's like 20 bucks more though, not that big of a difference. And yeah, the parts we have here are definitely very decent. The dual core I know is concerning, but it came out like last year, and modern day dual cores should be fine. Like it's around equivalent to like an i3 dual laptop dual core, just still in like $1,000 laptops to this day. So yeah, yeah, um, it's like in a completely different ballpark than that $100 build. Like all the parts, the only thing that is even remotely similar to the $100 build is probably the GPU. The integrated GPU on this is around GT 710 level, but I mean, you weren't even gonna get the full value of the GT 710 in that build. Like I was saying, the GT 710 was like literally the nicest part in that build. You're not even gonna get the full value of it because of how bottlenecked it is gonna be by that E2200. It's a fairly decent build, decent parts, an SSD. I'd say it's around equivalent to your average $400 to $450 pre-built. Though, even then, most pre-builts usually typically have parts as this SSD is gonna make the system feel a lot more snappier. Yeah, I mean that's the best I could do.